It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview a sports business owner and a sports reporter, Devin Jackson. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on, Brandon.
Can you talk about how you got started in the sports podcast industry?
So about a year ago, I was writing for a different website than I write for now, and I was covering Big Ten college football. I cover, kind of college players heading to NFL draft prospects. So I got approached with the idea with another guy, Mike Kernishin, who I still do a podcast with today. We both were covering the Big Ten for the same website. So the person of the kind of the head of the website reached out to both of us and asked us if a podcast would be something we'd be interested in doing. And we both were down to do it. So we were fairly new at it. We listened to a lot of other sports podcasts, a lot of other college football podcasts to kind of get a feel for it. But 61 episodes later, we're still doing it, and is now one of three podcasts that I do now weekly. So it's been a exciting time for me and an exciting year to be able to do this.
What are the three podcasts that you do?
I do the Big Shots NFL Draft podcast. Then I also do the Draft Nut podcast with Jared Feinberg, and then I do the Downtown Saints podcast with Dylan Abear.
Can you talk about covering the XFL Press?
So I just got involved with that over the summer, towards the latter half of the summer, but it's been really awesome. Basically, obviously, XFL ended in April. I believe it actually into March, April. So we really didn't get a chance to finish out the season. But a lot of the XFL players are going to the NFL or have been to the NFL and are currently on NFL rosters. So basically following that trend, especially when roster cuts were made in August, at the end of August. Quite a few XFL players made it to the NFL on the NFL active roster. So that was exciting. And then also getting a chance to talk to some of the former XFL players. I got to talk to punter Brunt. Hold on. Sorry about that. Brock Miller, punter Brock Miller. I got to talk with him over at XFL Press. It was a really, really insightful interview. Really awesome to do that interview with him. So that was a really good interview to do.
What teams have you covered in the XFL Press?
I didn't cover any of them specifically. I was more of the XFL players to the NFL. I only recently got involved with the XFL Press well after the season was shut down, so I wasn't covering anyone specifically. But I was keeping my eye on it, like the New York Guardians and some of those other teams out on the East Coast. But specifically, I didn't cover a specific team, more of just a league in general.
Have you interviewed how many people have you interviewed from the XFL? Such as, have you interviewed former XFL player from the New York Guardians, Marquise Williams?
I have only done so with just Brock Miller, the punter for XFL Press. I didn't really get a chance to talk to too many other people, um, and got to interview too many other people. But I did more of, like I was saying, XFL to NFL, and then just talking to that former punter, and then just keep giving people updates when NFL player, XFL player scores in NFL, like Donald Parham did earlier this month. So that's kind of how I kind of keep up with XFL. Just basically news that happens, touchdowns, things like that.
Can you talk about writing for the Blue Chip Scout?
Yeah, so Blue Chip Scouting, it's a group of about 9, 10 guys. We all cover various realms of college football and prospects. Basically, we write about what we see. We kind of write about the observations we see while watching college football. Talk about some of the top prospects, top quarterbacks, like obviously Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields are two of the top quarterbacks that are going to be in NFL next season. But there's some other players as well that we talk about as well. We try to secure interviews with current players, players that are getting ready to head to NFL, things like that. So it's a really fun opportunity to be able to do something that we all love and just basically come up with our own analysis and just describe what we see from players on the field.
What is the Blue Chip Scout on writing?
What do you mean?
Like, can you talk about like what y'all do more and like how y'all go about getting people to do interviews?
Yeah, so what we do is we all kind of focus in on players that are catching our eye. Whether it be at the highest division level, to even D2, maybe even D3. Our goal is to find players that can be drafted and talk about players that can be drafted in their NFL future or their professional future in general. So we watch a ton of film on these guys. Whether it be YouTube, all 22, whatever you name it, we try to find video and film, or we'll watch them live on Saturdays, or we'll go back and watch them. But basically, we break down the film, what they can contribute, what kind of traits they have in terms of how they will translate to the NFL. Just basically breaking down who they are as a player, and then going about interviewing them. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you'll post like videos of breaking down what they do, and they'll see it and reach out to you. I've gotten lucky a few times that I've been able to do that. Like over the summer, I got to interview Cal DB, Cameron Bynum. Interacted with Kentucky center Drake Jackson, someone I could potentially be interviewing after the conclusion of the season. Louisiana Tech running back Justin Henderson earlier this summer as well. So sometimes you get lucky and you're able to. They reach out to you, kind of giving you appreciation for noticing them and kind of giving them some praise and some publicity. Sometimes you get lucky with that, or sometimes you just DM them and just tell them what you're doing and kind of who you write for and explain them that you want to interview them. So it really depends on kind of the strategy you want to take, but either one you can find players that want to talk about their games and talk about what they can bring to the table for an NFL team.
Can you talk about the Downtown Sports Network?
Yeah, that was something I also joined. It was earlier this year, right before the summer started. Started by the CEO, Jake Ellenbogen. He's a really good guy. He also runs Downtown Rams. So he started basically a network of writing for up and coming, writers and people who want to get into the media business. And basically, they're all allowed to write whatever they want to. And they have a team of content editors that go in and edit your pieces and make sure that your SEO is correct and all the logistics of what you're writing is correct. But it was a neat opportunity. I got a chance to be a content editor for that website and help people kind of grow in their writing skills and just in general grow as they continue to write about the subjects that they want to write about. So it covers football, college football, NFL, NBA, college basketball, wrestling, anything you can name, really, baseball, hockey. So it covers all the major sports, and it's a really good opportunity for anyone that wants to join and kind of grow as a writer. Downtown Sports Network is an awesome place to do so.
What have you learned now that you did not know before joining Downtown Sports Network, the Blue Chip Scout, and the XFL Press?
Having context is everything. Meeting new people, meeting people that know other people. It's very important to branch out and be very versatile and be able to do multiple things. It just looks better for someone that wants to bring you on, and it just shows that you're not someone that's one dimensional. That is only focused on just one thing. Being able to do multiple things always is serves as a benefit for anyone that wants to get into sports media or wants to get into media in general. Being able to have multiple topics that you can discuss at length, in depth, it definitely does very well for you in the future. So just learning that being able to do multiple things, write for multiple websites, and be versatile enough to have people say, "Wow, he or she knows a lot about all these different sports." So that's someone I definitely want to have on my team. So it just boosts your confidence, and it boosts how people view you in general.
What advice would you have upcoming sports media people looking to get into sports media?
I would say don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to honestly pick someone's brain. I think the greatest thing is that there are people that know a lot more than me, that I always am willing to pick their brain and always wondering kind of the reasoning behind things, and understand how they do things. I think that getting perspective from people that know more than you, that have been in a business longer than you, getting their perspective and learning from what they've done or what they say they've done. I think that's always important for a young journalist, a young person that wants to be in sports media. You got to be willing to learn, and willing to understand that things are not going to come immediately. You got to be patient for things you work for, and that if you keep being consistent and creating content, and you never waver on the kind of content you put out, and you're just confident in what you put out, I think that will go a long way into people noticing you.
What advice would you give upcoming sports business owners looking to start their own sports empire?
I would say do research. Do research on what things are not really readily available, or readily, can be searched for, things like that. Trying to find something that other people aren't doing just yet. Like, obviously, you can cover the NFL, you can cover college football, but finding a different way to do so, finding a unique way to do so, I think that is always an important thing in creating a new business, because uh, a lot of people go to things, they have their websites that they go to that they know are going to get specific content that they're looking for. But if you're someone that wants to break into it and bring something new, I think doing your research and seeing what is not available out there right now, that could be useful for people to read about, I think that is always an um, important thing to note when you're starting something new. Finding that hole that people are not exploiting right now or not using. That would be my advice. Do your research, and figure out what people want that they aren't getting from other websites or
Where,
other businesses.
where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the platforms that you use?
Yeah, so on Twitter, you can follow me at real_D_Jackson. That is my main Twitter handle. You can find my work if you're interested in college prospects, or anything like that. You can find my work over at bluechipscouting.com. If you're interested in more the NFL, kind of more story type, um, stories, then you can head over to downtownsportsnetwork.com, and you can find my work there. And then XFL Press, if you're interested in XFL, or what the XFL players are doing, you can find my work over at xflpress.com. So those are kind of all the places you can find me. And like I said, on Twitter, I'm real_D_Jackson.
Thank you again, Devin, for your interview, and best of luck in your future in the sports business writing.
Thank you. You too, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Devin, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you. You too.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.